Green Hell, one of the hardest, most realistic survival games out there. How are you going to beat Green Hell? Well, I'm going to give you some tips, just like I did in Stranded Deep. I'm going to see how it goes. The very first tip I have for you, the first thing you're going to want to do when you come up in this game is you're going to want to look for the drug lab or chem lab, whatever you want to call it, at 51 or 5027. This is, in my opinion, the best place to build a starter base because you're close to a river, which is right over there. And then you also have a whole bunch of flat ground right over here that you can start building a house on. This next one's pretty simple, and you guys have probably seen this on plenty of tutorials before or tips, but when you first start off, just grab yourself a piece of mud. You can instantly drop it, but it unlocks all of the mud recipes for you, and that'll now be in your recipes, so you can create the mud stuff, so the mud mixer, storage box, and all of this good stuff. Do not be afraid to make a bed. Even if your character's out in the middle of nowhere, you can make a bed with whatever leaves are close enough to you. You do not want to be caught sleeping on the ground in this game. Worms will destroy your game. If I could find a place to set this fucking bed. Okay, well 90% of the time you'll be able to place a bed pretty much anywhere. There we go. There is nothing wrong with making a bed so you can catch some quick seas, because the last thing you want is to get worms. They'll get infected, you have to pull them out. It's not a good time. So make yourself a banana leaf bed or a palm leaf bed. Another tip for when you get to the drug lab is if you go inside, you can actually sleep on these beds and get comfortable sleep, which increases your sanity, because if you just start out, your sanity is probably dropping pretty low at this point. So get some sleep on a comfortable ass bed. Do not sleep on building farm plots. They're relatively cheap to make. You can just pick up a banana off of a tree, and then if you go over to your banana, you can harvest it, and that'll give you banana seeds, which will then appear in here. Right about here behind this charcoal. They're very small, hard to see, but there you go. Plant them. It's easy carbohydrates. Put animal droppings in them. Put water in them. Plant them on a roof somewhere out in the open, because the rain will hydrate them. That's always the best way to go. Another amazing perk of starting out at the drug or chem lab is when you go in, if you walk in and follow this around, there is always going to be a first aid box here on the wall. You open it up, it's usually going to have painkillers inside for you. Another thing to keep in mind with the drug lab is you have infinite meat here. The reason for this is if you're looking at the drug lab and you turn around and you follow the road a little bit, you come up into this where all these plants are growing. You come over here, you will find a trap, and this trap is at 51, 20, 85, 28, 5. Now if you arm this trap, which takes nothing, no resources, nothing, piccaries will randomly walk into it and die. Now keep in mind they won't do it while you're staring at it. You have to actually look away, but every few minutes you can come back and you're usually going to find a trap there, or a trapped pickery. Next up, there will always be a water collector at this site, right here to the right of the main building. And you can learn how to make one by simply looking at it. And you can put coconut bowls and stuff like that underneath to allow you to collect water. But if you come around here, you can almost always find a dirty pot sitting around here. You pick up the pot and you put it underneath there. Yum. You've got fresh water. Another thing to keep in mind is everything dies from one headshot. But I don't want to throw something right now. Now that jaguar is going to run away. Dirty Jaguar. But keep in mind, they usually spawn when you're in the drug or chem lab. They're usually spawn around this area right over here in the woods. So as you're exploring and sitting around, they will always growl at you before they attack. Whether that be a panther or jaguar, they will growl at you and stalk you before they attack you. So it usually will give you enough time to understand what's going on. Now, as you can see from that jaguar attack, somewhere on us, we are bleeding. We have a deep wound. It's going to be right there on our leg. So to take care of that, you don't want it getting infected, but what you can do is you can come over here, and if you come up real slow, okay, well, you gotta crouch. But if you crouch, you can take ants straight from an anthill, and you won't get a rash, and they won't attack you. Alright, that's enough ants. And then, you're gonna take that, you're gonna find your ants, and you're gonna apply them to it. Now the ants are gonna be on there, they're gonna act as stitches, and then that'll take care of the bleeding. And then you give that a while, and it'll just turn into a cut. Now, another thing that was an absolute game changer for me that I didn't find any tutorial on is on these trees that usually have the Banasistopertupara vine, you can find these blue mushrooms. Now, eating these blue mushrooms give you a ton of energy, okay? 10 energy per. Now, you can increase that by putting it in water and making a mushroom stew with it. But these mushrooms will save your life. But be aware, you cannot stay up for multiple days because you will get insomnia. And when that happens, your character's health will start, or not health, his energy will start draining really, really fast. But yeah, blue mushrooms on these big trees with the big vines. Life changer. There are so many different plants in this game. This is a Molinera plant. These, you can easily identify them because of their big leaves, but most importantly, their yellow flowers. Now, if you break these plants, you'll get Molinera leaves, as you see here. And you can craft these into bandages, just like this. Now, these mushrooms can be identified. They're usually growing near riverbeds, but they're always growing on logs. They're single mushrooms. These get rid of parasites. Each mushroom gets rid of one parasite. On the topic of parasites, please do not eat when you are dirty. You can tell you are dirty by the little mud icon above your health bar. You get clean by washing yourself off in a river, or, by the rain. These mushrooms, the ones that are bunched together in multiples like this, these are good for carbohydrates. They're only going to give you a few, but they're safe to eat nonetheless. These big mushrooms, these big boys that you see hanging around, these are great for sanity. So you're going to want to take these and cook them up into a mushroom stew, which is just a coconut bowl and water on a fire. Once the water's been boiled, then you put the mushroom inside of it, and you've got a good mushroom to take care of your sanity. All fruits that you see growing on small trees are safe to eat and will almost always give you hydration and carbohydrates when you eat them. So have fun eating fruits. They're not going to hurt you. Unless your hands are dirty, then you're probably going to get parasites. As you're running around, keep an eye out for these trees specifically. Now, these trees have a chance of dropping nuts, where you'll just see the nuts sitting on the ground. Now, these nuts are going to give you 15 fat per. So as you can see there, I just got parasites because I ate with dirty hands. But don't fear, because we picked up those mushrooms from earlier, and each one I eat gets rid of a parasite. And I ate a spoiled mushroom, and that's how you get food poisoning. Bonus tip. On the topic of food poisoning, you can actually get rid of it by eating charcoal. Each charcoal gets rid of one of them, but it also drops your sanity, so be careful with it. One of the best bowls you can get in the game is finding a tortoise walking around, walk up to him, hit him once so he hides, and then you can harvest him for his meat and his shell. When near water, keep an eye out for water lily flowers that usually sit on top of lilies. These are really good at getting rid of food poisoning, as they'll cure 3 food poisoning with just 1 flower. You just eat them raw, and boom, you're no longer puking your brains out or pooping. One of my favorite plants to come across in this game are lily plants. Now, if you break these, you'll get an unknown herb and flower, but if you combine them with a leaf bandage, you'll get a lily dressing. And lily dressings, now I can't 100% say this is a fact, but this is what I have found. Lily dressings are the absolute best for wounds that you don't want to get infected, such as if you dig a worm out of your skin and stuff like that. If you have a pesky fever that you got from an infection from digging out worms because you didn't follow my earlier tip about sleeping on a fucking bed, so then you had to wake up, dig out worms, you didn't have any lily dressing, you ended up getting an infection, don't worry. Bones are your best friend. You take bones, you put them in boiled water, and you let them cook. Once a bone is done cooking, it's going to give you a whole bunch of good stuff. It's going to get rid of your fever, get rid of food poisoning, give you energy, hydration, fats, and protein. You can also sleep fevers away. But don't get yourself killed by sleeping fevers away, because that would be embarrassing. If you're in a pinch and need protein fast, and it's taking too long to cook, because it does take a little while, you can put meat in boiled water, and it'll cook much faster. You just won't get nearly as much nutrients from it. But it's a good way to get a filling meal quickly. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. I know it's not as big or as good as my Stranded Deep video, but I'm trying out some new things with editing. I wanted to give it my best shot, and these are some nuanced tips that I couldn't really figure out, or I didn't see a lot of them in tutorials when I was looking up and first playing Green Hell. Green Hell is one of the hardest survivor games I've ever played, but at the same time, it's the most rewarding. Getting past your first day in Green Hell feels amazing. I really hope you guys enjoy it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other tips, please put it in the comments. That way other people who see this video can go to the comment section and get even more information on how to play this game. Thank you guys so much. And remember, you can always catch me live on twitch.tv/Doeburr, DOEBURR. And the link to that, as always, will be in the description. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day.